I need to ask you a question. Be curious, Drifters.
Amelia's duel hits the front.
Emma is coming right away for Damien Oliver.
Bella Nipotina, and boy, doesn't she deserve this.
The Giga Kick's got a strong kick.
Golden Mile, soar out the mile. I'm thunderstruck over the top. Mr. Brightside has won the mile.
And Militarised blows them away in the Champagne Stakes. And she's a class act, pulling right away Prowess. And Zoo Gotcha won it by 2.5.
Zaki joined by Animo, who looks destiny in the face.
Jeez. First Group 1 of the season, done and dusted, Jonesy.
Yeah.
But before we get into the horse racing, how was your Saturday?
Yeah, it was terrific. Last minute plans to go to the Tillies. Got invited by an ex-Matilda.
Damn.
Who's probably number one ticket holder of the On the Drift podcast. Jess Mitchell, shout out. Don't know how you're feeling this morning, but I'm sure it's a bit under the weather. Yeah, so got to the Tillies last night. I was lucky enough to get to the quarterfinal as well, where it was hectic. 7-6 penalties. And, mate, the atmosphere on that day in the stadium was electric.
Best you've ever experienced at a sporting event?
Right up there. Yeah, right up there with, like, State of Origin at Suncorp. Definitely right up there.
Have you been to the Gabba when the Lions have been doing some of their best work in like a hectic game?
Yeah,
like
that's great atmosphere as well.
Yeah.
Ashes. I went to the Ashes in the UK, and that was different sort of atmosphere, but it was really cool, like with the Barmy Army singing and stuff like that.
You know what's underrated? Being at the track.
100%. We'd love to get to Moonee Valley for a Cox Plate before they refurbish it. So let's put that on the agenda.
Yeah, for sure. Mate, I caught up with some not girlfriends, drifters.
Oh, there'd be a long line of them for yours truly, Dan Hutchin. Fucking hell. It'd be coming out the door.
Ex and colleagues of mine who I used to work with at MediaCom, so you know all the offenders.
Yeah, I would.
But it was good to see them, all of them kicking goals. One of them, Scotty, is now doing like 3D printing. I was like, how do you even start doing something like that?
Yeah. Do you know what? Something like that, the initial outlay would be pretty significant.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm starting my 3D printing business. What do I need? A 3D printer. They ain't cheap.
Nah.
So what sort of items is he creating?
Just like little, like from characters from movies and that sort of thing. And he said like basically the materials are, it's actually a solid idea, right? Not that he's doing it to have it as a side hustle. He's just doing it because he likes it. But he said, say, if you get the figurine correct, it's like 50 cents. And then he's like, people are selling them for like $20. I'm like, well, that margin is significant.
That's a significant margin.
Yeah.
Where are we? It's like a 4,000% margin. Which is how much I reckon I would have won yesterday, times by about 10. No, I was good for a place yesterday, to be honest. I was there or thereabouts. But yeah, it was a good day on the punt, like all things considered, to get back into it. But yeah, that was my Saturday, mate. After the Tillies game, your boy was pretty cooked. Yeah. So I just went home and went to bed.
Yeah. Your head hit that pillow.
Yeah, hit the sack. And now I'm here. We're recording early, Drifters, because we want to be fresh off the press. Hot off the press even.
Yeah, and we have a celebrant to see later. So
Not the two of us. I'm already married and I'm straight.
Yeah.
And he was just talking about all his ex-missos. But look, that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
No.
And power to you.
Yeah, thanks, mate. So, couple of questions from the Instagram. Joe on Instagram said, what was the win of the day, boys?
I reckon Mr. Brightside in the PB Lawrence.
I would agree with that. I think he was absolutely fantastic.
He was arrogant. He just settled in the first third. Willow was like, I've got the best horse in the race, and just brought him into the race at the right time and just got away from them 200 metres out and was never going to be beaten.
Yeah. So I had a look at the all the figures and that sort of thing. I think there was 3 or 4 1,400-meter races at Caulfield on the day. They would have beaten every other race by at least 6 lengths over the distance. Like they have. This is going to be like easily, I think, the highest rating race of the day.
Yeah.
Not just at Caulfield. I think it will be the highest rating race on the entire day.
Yeah. Well, I said to you yesterday, if Mr. Brightside was in the Wink Stakes, I think he would have put that field away.
I think so. Yeah, because like I think the Winks was a solid addition, but yeah, I think Mr. Brightside, I think he's proven that he is a top 5 horse in the country.
1,400, 1,600 metres right up his alley. Whether he can stretch that brilliance out at 2,000 metres yet to be seen, but he'll pick up a Group 1 this prep.
Yeah, absolutely. Boys, what horse, this is from John on the Instagram, what horse do you want to take from the meetings for a specific target?
Oh, that's a terrific question.
I have one off the top of the dome.
Yep.
Kaimochi from Into the Flight Stakes.
Came home like a freight train.
And I think she wants to be on top of the ground. So if she gets the good ground, I think she heading towards a Flight Stakes over the 1,600 will be right up her alley.
That's a great shout. For me, Jewess, I reckon, was a slashing return in the Wink Stakes. Obviously, she's going to be better out over further. So, 3rd or 4th up, depending on the price that she is and what race she's in. I reckon she could be my pony. I can't remember the name of the horse, forgive me, drifters, but the Bracekowski thing, Brian Bray, that I mentioned to you, came home like a freight train for 3rd. I think you won that race. The horse that you picked won that race. It was like a 1,400 metres, 1,600 metres, something or other. But
was it the Amenable race, maybe?
Yeah, it was the Amenable race. Amenable.
Oh, yes. Carini.
Yep, Carini. So it's won out to 2,500 metres overseas in like Group 2s and 3s and stuff. So if it's coming home like that in a 1,400 metre race,
yep,
it should pick up a win this prep, I would think. French thing.
Nicely done. Another thing that I should have briefed you on, actually, but I've got a few, is what I want to do is, in horse racing, you're constantly learning, right? So what I want to do is...
And forgetting.
Having like, all right, what are the lessons that you learned? So I have a few here. One is horses follow their pattern, like traditional pattern, right? I think what we learnt with Zagotcha, albeit the intentions being pure for her being a sprinter, we learnt that she's a miler yesterday.
Yeah, way too sharp for her.
Yeah, way too sharp. And top weight, just her wheels were spinning heading into the straight, and Parasol was far too good. And I saw some people, some pretty smart people, make some pretty silly decisions yesterday, tipping Major Beal on top in the Winks.
Yeah.
After his fantastic trials, albeit, but he's a stayer.
Yeah.
He follows his pattern. Don't get lured in.
No, and we say this every start of the autumn or the spring when a lot of good horses are resuming from spells. In reflection, we always say, "Oh yeah, it's first up. Won't be fully wound up. The Wing Stakes was a little bit different because pretty much every horse in that race was first up. So you're looking for the ones who are proven, and you're looking for the ones who you're thinking 1,400 isn't going to be too sharp for them. But in general, like if a thing's won out over like 24 or 2,500 meters, like Major Beal has, and that was the only thing it did last prep, it's like, well, why would you expect it to win first up at 1,400 meters?
Because I think where we also, this is the first of my 3 lessons. My second lesson is, which kind of like leads into this, is you gotta take trial form with a pinch of salt.
100%.
Because Major Bill was trialing like Fire Lap, finished his second last. Cylinder was trialing like bloody Reece Walsh, and then he actually rocks up in his bloody Corey Oates.
Yeah. Yeah. Corey Oates. Well, he's massive. So Corey Oates is enormous. Yeah, I wasn't that into the hype with Cylinder. Like I might have said on the podcast, like apparently he's made a transition from 2 to 3, but everyone was saying that. And all because you're massive doesn't mean you're fast. And people diving into $1.50, $1.40, like you got the chockies, but come on. Like that's a skinny price to play with.
It was real skinny.
Yeah. Meanwhile, my guy, Little Bros, was a little bit disappointing, but
Yeah, he was.
maybe he just needs to shake it off and back up.
I agree. My final lesson that I learnt this weekend was in Sydney, if there is a drift, respect it.
Oh, God, yeah.
My God. So a couple that come to mind was back rower in the first. I think it was about $3 during the week, and then he started $5 plus. But one of the biggest drifts I've ever seen is extremely lucky.
Yeah.
$3.20 earlier in the week to $7 at race time.
Yeah.
And he ran like a $7 pop.
Yeah, very interesting. Because all the talk during the week was that he was the pick out of the Wallace stable for that race once they got to a scratch. So, yeah, very bizarre. I ended up jumping on Argentia, but Buenos Noches, you said yesterday, that was a nice win.
It was huge, but we'll get to his performance when we go through the review of each race. But
Buenos Noches.
Did you have any lessons off the top of the dome?
Oh, just that I'm not a very good punter, but that's a lesson that I continue to learn every weekend. No, look, I think for me it just confirmed the fact that good horses are good, and that sounds really basic, but like Mr. Brightside was $2, drifted out to $2.35 at Caulfield, but he was my best bet of the day, and he was just better than every other horse in that field, and he ran to it. Buenos Noches was the toppy, but he's shown in his performances in the past that he's actually got some class about him. So he put that field away. Fangirl's just a very good horse. So she put that field away. So yeah, I think when a lot of these things are first up and starting out their prep, you have to default to the thing that you think is the best horse in the race.
Yep. Lovely. All right, let's start at Caulfield. The Regal Roller. So this was a bunched finish in the end with It's Our Time, Savannah Cloud, Ungawa, and
My guy, Detonated Jack.
Mate, I think he had a pretty solid return, actually.
Considering he's never run over 1,200 metres. Yeah. And that's, again, falling into the trap. Like put him on top. He's running derbies, and he's resuming over 1,200 metres. But he'll pick up a nice win this prep.
So what made me a little bit nervous about this race was the bunch finish. It was a hell of a go. If you listen to the call again from Matt Hill, he gives it a hell of a shout. But right now, about 200 from home, I'm like, oh, It's Our Time's going to pop up again. He's just a winning machine now. And then he just proved, as I received text messages, that he's just a milk drinker.
He is a milk drinker. Yeah, him and Wave Rider Boy, he does my head in. It's Our Time he's a Group 3 horse at best. It's Our Time. Our sprinting ranks are way too deep for something like that to ever do anything. But the fact that you got like a Detonator Jack nearly beating him first up over 1,200 metres makes me think that the horses you want to follow out of that race are the horses that were coming home like a freight train. But
coming home like a freight train and first up. So
first up.
Ungawa and It's Our Time were up. They were the fit horses. Savannah Cloud, the winner. She has far more upside. And then Detonator Jack, I think over further, he's the one that you want to follow as well.
Yeah.
So
yes,
I would have thought so. I'm just double checking that Savannah Cloud is a mare. No, he's a gelding. So apologies to you.
It's quite a feminine name for a gelding.
Yeah, it is. It's like Wave Rider Boy.
Wave Rider Boy.
It's a girl.
Yeah, I know. But boy is spelt boy as in sea boy.
Bowie.
Bowie. She's very well named, Wave Rider Boy, to be honest.
Mm.
And I thought when she jumped out of the gates and settled about 4th or 5th, I was like, I am on here. And again, she ran second. So she's had like 5 runs this prep. She's placed in every single one. She's won once. Guess who's been on her 4 times out of 5? Your boy. Guess which time I didn't get on? The time she won. Yeah. Every time. Rider.
So that Savannah Cloud race, the Detonator Jack race, that was about 3 lengths slower than the Vivia race.
Okay.
So just as a reference point, and Vivia, albeit in about benchmark 80 grade, did it the hard way. 3 wide, no cover, on speed, still kicked away. I think you can put her away now, though. I think that's 3 really impressive wins in a row. If she continues her prep, I want to be against her.
Yeah, gotcha.
So the Quizette. So we had Charmstone and Skirt the Law here. Now, a couple of horses. I know Charmstone had some respiratory issues. I can't remember what was wrong with Skirt the Law. She just failed. I can't remember if she went lame or something.
No, she just failed. I think it might have been on a heavy deck and her wheels were just spinning. But I thought both of them were equally impressive here. I think Charmstone had the better run, so that adds merit to Skirt the Law's second. If you watch the race as well, Drifters, watch the replay. Skirt the Law had no idea which way she was going. She's not suited to that leg at all yet, so she'll be much better for the experience.
Yeah, for sure. And comparing the times in this race, they were about 2 lengths quicker than the boys, so the cylinder race on the day. And for me, I think the Quinella are the ones that I definitely want to follow. Now, I had a reason. So if you look through that field, right, Skirt Law and Charmstone were the clear, because I think Kaimochi was in the dual acceptors as well, and Lazargo. So those 4 were probably the class horses in the race. I deliberately didn't want anything to do with Charmstone because of those respiratory issues. If a horse has breathing issues for me, I need to see them come back and do it. Then I can back them with a bit more confidence. So that's a little theory that I'm working with, because if you can't breathe, you can't really run that fast.
No, yeah, it's anaerobic. It makes sense.
So for me, the Quinella is the other ones to take out of that race. She's all shenanigans. My on toppy, she was just not up to that grade.
She was up to some serious shenanigans. Who would have thunk?
Now, the Vane. We touched on Cylinder. His backers were nearly on the floor.
Oh, mate. The centre point of every single multi in Australia was on the line, and he only just got to the line first. I thought he lost.
Yeah, so did I, rewatching it. So I think he had the run of the race here, because both at Randwick and at Caulfield, you wanted to be off the fence. Like, this was a prime example. They were about 3 lanes off the fence the entire way. He's in the better ground here than the leader here, which I can't really pronounce its name.
Aurora Boris.
Little Bros fading into 4th here. The one I want to take out of it is I'm immortal. I'm unstoppable. That was a fantastic run by him.
Yeah, and I think that was only his 3rd start.
Yep, third start.
Yeah, not as experienced as obviously Cylinder, and I think Aurora Boris, that's probably a 6th or 7th start. So, yeah, I'm with you there. Little Bro is just flat, so if he doesn't bounce back in the next race, maybe he's just a 2-year-old colt.
Yeah, so what did he win? The Blue Diamond. We say it each year, the Blue Diamond winners. I think in recent memory, the best Blue Diamond winner we've had is probably
Tagaloa?
Nah, Artorias, I think.
Artorias, of course, yeah.
Artorias would have to be. But Tagaloa was below that, so I think he either won a CS Hayes or a PB Lawrence.
Yeah, and he definitely picked up a Group 2 or a Group 3.
Yeah.
Placed in the Guineas.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, the Blue Diamond form is patchy at best, and the Golden Slipper, obviously, we all know about the curse there. So, the 2-year-olds with a lot of hype, it's easy to make the mistake, and I make it all the time of expecting them to go on as 3-year-olds. But 3-year-olds and 2-year-olds are completely different kettle of fish.
Yeah,
but I still think Shinzo and Militarize are horses you can back with confidence.
I don't know. Militarize, to me, his trials, take them with a pinch of salt, but they've been average at best.
Yeah, classic Chris Waller trials. Just get him spinning around. Don't ask too much of him. I've got a high opinion of that horse, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, true. Here we go, Mr. Brightside. So, as mentioned, this race was 6 lengths quicker than the other 1,400 metres races at Caulfield on the day, at least. Some of them were like about 10 lengths quicker. Set up by Western Empire and Buffalo River. Buffalo River is just, he would have to be like one of the greatest pacemakers in Australia.
Mate, and I love a race with a pacemaker like that because the best horse wins.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
The connections would be like,
Oh, yeah,
what are you doing?
100%. But as a punter, you know you're going to get a truly run race.
Yeah.
No, I thought Mr. Brightside was clearly better than the rest. Was there any other runs out the back that you liked the look of?
I was on attrition in this race, and I think what this also proved was, for me, he had 3 jump yards over like the 900 metres. If you're going to go into a contest like this, first up, where they have gone at absolute breakneck speeds, they're like breaking 11s from like the 1,000 to the 8, from the 8 to the 6 here. A bit of a let up from the 6 to the 4 because everyone needed it. But his wheels were spinning. And I wouldn't be surprised if this horse was just absolutely panting after the race. So he finishes off okay. I guess like it's good to see Tuvalu somewhat back as well.
Yeah, I thought Tuvalu was great. And Lindsay Smith said during the week that he's nowhere near fully wound up. So I think he's a rung below our Group 1 horses. But he can pick up a couple of nice races this prep.
Yeah, for sure. I think so. He's probably going to be found out at the handicapper as well because he is a Group 1 winner now.
Yeah, so I think for him, you're trying to look for a PB Lawrence type race over the mile, like a Group 2 or a Group 3. He might run in like a Cox Plate and stuff like that, but he'll be a $30 shot in a Cox Plate. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. All right, so that is Caulfield done and dusted. So what? I am unstoppable.
Unstoppable. I'm unstoppable. Yep.
Tuvalu.
Tuvalu. Yeah.
Honestly,
I think
Mr. Brightside out of the race.
Yeah, Mr. Brightside. Skirt the Law and Charmstone, I think, will be 2 good sprinting 3-year-old fillies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lovely. Race 5. We're going to Randwick now. Race 5 was the show county quality. Now, Buenos Noches.
Buenos Noches.
This was a hell of a win. This horse still doesn't know what he's doing.
No, he's so coltish. So coltish, but he's got a lot of talent.
I like these silks too. Navy and white.
He's with Matty Smith, is he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Fierce Impact Trainer. One of my favourites.
Yeah, true. He was just great. I thought it was a pretty good race overall. Do you have any facts and figures?
It's harder in Sydney. Sydney, so I could only really do it in the time allowed for Melbourne. But I thought, obviously, I was on extremely lucky here. Again, just you don't want to follow that trial form. It's not gospel because this thing was trialing like fire lap. Buenos Noches is absolutely travelling here. Like, look at this. Just gives the thing outside him a push on the back of Argentia, who's runner-up, and he just has a really dynamic sprint from, like, the 3 to the 1. When he hits the front, his head's going all over the place.
Has he got blinkers on?
I don't think so.
Maybe that'll sharpen him up. But so, what do you look at him going off? How good is that? You love to see that. No, I'm a big Buenos Noches guy, and I know you are as well, purely because he's just got such a fantastic name. Where do you take him?
I think he gets an Everest slot.
You reckon?
Like, I don't know. After the first 6 seeds, they go pretty quick. Like, for a horse like this that has tremendous upside, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. And he was getting further away from him as well.
Top weight.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think so. I think he needs a bit of an acid test as well, which the Everest clearly is. But when's the shorts? Or is the shorts over 1,000 metres, so would he have to go back? I'm not sure.
I think he's a 1,200 metre sprinter.
So
cut out of the ground's important for this horse, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think he found good tracks in the autumn and he might have got found out. Argentia, you know.
She's just a good, honest mare.
She is.
Mara and Eustace, we've said on this podcast before, and it continues to be the case. They're just so good with these older sprinting mares. Or has Joe Pride got Argentia now?
Yeah.
Anyway,
and I think she was with the Freemans beforehand.
yeah. So I don't know who I'm thinking of. Gee whiz. But
Bella?
anyway,
You were saying Bella.
Bella.
earlier in the week.
Yeah. That's right. But anyway, Joe Pride is also good with these older sprinting mares. So, yeah,
Maria Mia.
perfect example. So, yeah, she was great.
So the market was fascinating in this race. So as mentioned, extremely lucky, about $3.50 out to $7. But I could not predict the go for Colino here. With
Massive go.
for Jamie Carr back in the saddle. Probably, has an influence there because she's an elite jockey. But I thought average at best, So when these horses drift, I definitely look at that, but I don't necessarily want to be on the plunge horse either. It can definitely come off, right?
Yeah, 100%. But just like everything, if you followed the plunge horse every time and if it won every time, then everyone would be rich.
Absolutely. So is this the Premier's Cup, I believe? So this was a disgusting watch from go to woe.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Yeah.
We're last already. We're
Yeah.
100 metres into the race.
It's terrible.
Faulkner Park.
And he made absolutely no ground. So yeah, I think that's probably it for him. He spells now, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yes, mate.
So yeah, it's just the wheels were spinning.
Oh, mate.
I was watching this. I was like, well, he can't win.
No.
He can't win.
No.
He's too far back.
Because, as you see it on Channel 7 or wherever you're watching, you see it on the screen, you see the sectional times, and it's like when they're running like close to 13s, you're like, oh no. He's got no chance.
And look how strong out the field is. He was a disgusting watch.
So I think if you look at the running, so the first horse is running fourth here, absolute prime position. I think the second horse is either first or second or third. The run of the race for me was Cleveland. I think Cleveland was fantastic because he wants 2 mile.
He does, yeah. So he's probably the one I'd take out of it. He was my Sydney Cup horse. He failed there, but he's been geared towards a Melbourne Cup, obviously.
Yeah, so in the straight here, look at Faulkner Park, mate. Widest, just
the wheels were spinning.
So I did see this in his form profile. I was like, you know what? I reckon I was really taken by that win. I thought he could overcome it, but he has 0 form on soft ground. So I think that and just getting way too far back, end of prep, just found him out.
Yep.
So Hosier, all credit to you if you found that horse. I think the market really supported him.
Yeah, the market came for him.
$5.50 he started, which was huge. Now, this is probably one of the most interesting races of the day for mine, the Toy Show quality.
Yep.
Parasol, you gave a little push. You said that you were the one, she was the one that you were most scared of during the week.
100%, yeah. I think she's a good sprinting filly. She's 4 now, but she's progressive, working through the grades really nicely. And when those horses, and you said it during the week, they're not quite 1,200 metre horses. They're just really good over that 1,000 to 1,100. She's that.
Yeah.
Although I'd like to see her at 1,200 now. Maybe she's done a bit more maturing, but she was just too quick for these.
Yeah. I think the reason why last prep and why we kind of had those opinions was because she was basically out on her legs against her own sex as well.
Yeah.
Over like that 1,200 metre distance. So I agree though. I think she might have actually picked up a few more tricks over in her break because she's pretty dominant here. Queen of the Ball, beat Nature Strip in a trial. So that has to be respected too. Zugotcha gets going a little bit late.
That was too sharp for her.
Yeah, to me, it's just a barrier trial with a bit of cash for her.
100%. Do you know who Zugotcha reminds me a bit of? Tefane. No, I don't think as good as Tefane as it stands right now, but remember Tefane was tried at these sprint trips and you'd expect her to do a lot better than what she did, but for whatever reason didn't work out. Gets to the 1400 meters, just a different horse, and then wasn't quite a miler either.
Yeah.
So I think Zugotcha is in that sort of 1400 meters is her sweet spot. And there's plenty of races out there over 1400 meters. What do they do with her now? Well, she'll be set to a Golden Eagle.
Yep.
And I think 1500 against her own age is right up her alley.
Yeah, for sure. Now, the Wing Stakes, we probably should have started with this one, to be fair. But that's all right. A lot to unpack here. So, Lindemann in the Stewards Report was apparently just couldn't stop coughing after the race. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, so he's pulled up really not that well. So I'd be extremely wary of backing him again this prep. And again, with the trials, he was the Waller horse that you wanted to back.
Yeah. Good trialer, Lindemann. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, he's my roughie in the race," so on and so forth. I just thought, no, from that gate, you'll have to come across and try lead. There's too many things that'll try and lead
from that gate and the soft ground for him, because he hasn't really shown the same efforts on the tracks that have a bit of give, and I think that's probably fair to say with King Colorado as well.
Yep.
He had a pretty tough run, King Colorado.
He did. He got knocked around.
So he was held up for about 300 meters, and he only got beaten 2.5 lengths.
Yeah.
But I still think what we've learned there is that he didn't accelerate like he did on that really hard Eagle Farm track.
Yeah. So I don't write him off. Definitely not.
I think back to his own age, heading towards something like Golden Rose, he'll be pretty hard to beat there.
Yeah. I thought it was a fantastic effort from Fangirl to get over the top of Zaki. Because when Zaki loomed up, I thought he was going to run away with it. But yeah, he's coming off one trial. I think they were maybe just a little bit too sharp for him. The shock of the race was the American mare, bloody Princess Grace, on the inside. I thought she was going to steal it.
Worst part of the track too.
Yeah.
So maybe, she was, to be completely honest, I gave her zero respect.
I gave her zero respect. Zero respect. I thought she was going to steal it, but once the track started firming up and got upgraded to a soft 6, the money started coming for Fangirl. She was out to about $657 at one point, and she started about $5. So, I think well deserved.
Yeah, I agree. There's a few flashing light runs here, as there typically is, as they're all first up. Who do you, of those? You mentioned Jewess before, but who do you think was outside the winner? Who's the one that you want to take out of the race?
Oh. Fantastic question. I think Jewess, and there was also another pony around her, but I can't remember exactly who it was, who finished up the arse of Zaki. Who is that?
Think It Over.
Think It Over, yeah. So I thought Think It Over was awesome in return.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's going to be a Group 1 performer as well.
He looked done here. I was like, all right, and he's holding King Colorado in a pocket, and I was like, all right, King Colorado's going to go past him here, and he gets his second wind, and he finishes off really
well. Mate, these old So You Think Geldings, they're just tough horses.
And that was in my notes to ask you, is like, do you actually like the run more of Think It Over or Jewess? Because they're very similar.
Yeah. Well, considering Think It Over's come back after 18 months, that is a hell of a run. And Jewess is different for me, though. Jewess is, I think she's a 2,400 meter horse, 2,200 meter horse. So, whereas Think It Over for me, 2,000 meters is probably, the top end of the tree for him. So, I reckon they both have similar merit. Is that a sit on the fence answer?
Yeah. Well, that's all right. I think Osipenko was fantastic.
Osipenko was great too. He's the other one that I saw yesterday being like, he's one who can make it, I think.
So, for him, I think he is a 2,000 metre horse. So, the logical target for him is a Cox Plate. Now, that's probably, he definitely needs to go up a couple of levels to be competitive there. But,
yes,
from that three-year-old group from last season, he was probably one of the most exciting prospects.
Spanked Pericles, and Pericles won last week.
Should have won a Randwick Guineas.
Yeah. So he's a good horse, Osipenko. But to my point before, Mr. Brightside in this field, he puts them away.
Yeah, I think so. I think he is versatile because he can handle any ground too.
Well, he wins an All-Star mile on a good deck, and then his next start's on a heavy 9 swamp in the Donny.
Yeah.
Truly run races though. So the PB was a truly run race, and that's when he comes out on top because he likes a really tough mile.
Yep. Okay then. So top 5 horses in Australia then. You have Giga Kick and I Wish I Win up the Quinella. Then you probably have our milers are probably stronger than our other rankings, right? Our 2 best milers in Australia would have to be Fangirl and Mr. Brightside.
Yep.
Who would you have above the other?
Oh, Mr. Brightside. Yeah. I think Mr. Brightside's a better horse than Fangirl for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Like that's an easy decision for me to make. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Fangirl has more brilliance. Mr. Brightside has better racing manners.
Yeah. He's a professional.
Yeah, he is.
He's a professional.
And then that 5th spot, are we saying what? Without a fight, Amelia's Jewel.
Prow West, but she's a Kiwi, I guess. I think she's a star. Yeah. As it stands right now.
All right. And then heading in, and I think this is the last race that we're actually going to cover, the Silver Shadow Stakes. Now, I think we were nowhere near this race.
I was on Tillies and she got pulled up, and you could tell she was not happy.
Yep.
So I don't know if there was anything in the Steward report. There was.
Yeah, she slow recovery, and she just didn't want to be there. She was like flapping her head all over the place. So she needs a clearance to go back to the races. I thought Kaimochi was fantastic here, as mentioned earlier. I think another 50 metres she wins the race, but heading towards the flight stakes, she's my pony. Autumn Ballet was fantastic, and I saw a lot of people kicking up for the runner-up as well.
Yeah. Autumn Ballet won the Black Opal, remember?
Yep.
But she didn't run in the slipper.
Yes. So that decision not to back her up a week probably paying some dividends now.
And she was like $17 or $18, so she was a silly price. But I think Kamochi's the one out of that race.
Yep, for sure. So how I wanted to end these is to bring a little bit more value to the drifter, you know what I mean? So in the Stewards Report, Lindemann was found to be coughing after the race. He requires a vet clearance before trialling or racing again. Tillies had a slow recovery. She requires a trial before racing again. Extremely Lucky didn't handle the ground. And Faulkner Park got too far back and didn't handle the track. No shit.
Yeah, Captain Obvious.
Yeah. And I would have given some insights from the Melbourne races, but their Stewards Report was not available yet.
You're kidding.
Honestly, mate, what is happening with that joint?
Racing Victoria, they're scrambling.
Bunch of victims.
Yeah, Victorian victims, that's for sure. Who had the best day out of our anonymous punters?
I know, probably the Mafia.
Yeah, typical.
I know the Prince from Perth got a couple of winners late.
That's good.
I think the Source only got one.
Yeah,
the victim had Mr. Brightside.
Yeah,
and I don't think the Bully had anything.
Oh, really? The bully got bullied. Might have to swap back to the Eagle Farmer. Yeah, okay. So we were first up.
Yeah,
we were first up.
Yep.
Work to do.
Yeah. It's always these. I think we say it each season. It might be an excuse, sure. But give us a few weeks, until we get into our gears. And look what happened. It was a fruitful winter.
Yeah.
Autumn was tough.
Yeah, look, there was some bizarre results last year. I was just thinking about it. Like, looking at the Wing Stakes, and they were talking about how many individual Group 1 winners there were. And it was like, Communists. I was like, who?
Yeah.
Major Bill.
Mhm.
Who?
Yeah.
So yeah, those 3-year-olds last year just took turns. It was annoying.
Yeah. And you $80 on Fangirl, so you're already
Yeah,
in the
it's a nice
green.
jam. Bit of jam there.
Yeah.
Who are the drifters on?
Drifters had $50 on Zaki and $50 on Lindemann.
Drifters.
And $50 on King Colorado just got me nowhere.
Oh no.
So, but hopefully you like a bit of a tweak in the structure for the review podcast, bringing a bit more value to the drifter out there. If you have any questions, please send them in, DM us. We'll put up the question box, all that sort of stuff. If you want to, suggest anything towards a futures market as well, with the good people at Ned's, we can explore that as well. But I think that's about it, mate.
Yeah, brilliant.
Toodaloo.
Peace out.